What's up everybody, this is DJ Jordan Nelson and today I'm back with IDJ Now, partnering up with them to tell you guys about an awesome new product from American Audio. This is the APX12 GO BT and it is a battery powered 12-inch speaker with Bluetooth, wheels and a rolling carry handle and an included UHF microphone, all at a steal of a price. Today, we're gonna talk about the speaker's build quality, we're gonna talk about everything that's included in the box, we'll go through all of the features top to bottom, and then we'll run a few tests like a distance test for the Bluetooth and the microphone, and finally I'll tell you my real-world experience and thoughts on this product. As we go along, I'll make a lot of comparisons to the ELS GO 8 BT, which is another battery-powered speaker that American Audio has offered for quite a while, and it's one that I used personally in my DJ business for a stretch of time. I think this is a definite upgrade and improvement over that speaker and previous battery-powered speakers that American Audio has released, and I'm going to tell you why today. A lot of manufacturers are making battery-powered speakers nowadays. I think that's because we're seeing a big increase in the number of weddings and wedding ceremonies and other events taking place in remote locations. I think I've mentioned this in my videos previously, but I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, even though I'm in Orlando now. And in Utah, there's one thing that couples love, and that is to have their weddings in the most remote locations possible. I always am jealous of all the DJs out there having these weddings in ballrooms, walking up a service elevator and into a flat room. Meanwhile, I'm like trekking things up, cobblestone paths in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone service. And so for people that deal with that kind of stuff, weddings on the beach, weddings in barns in the middle of nowhere where power can't be seen anywhere, this is going to be a good solution. It's also going to be a great product for people that need a backup system. It's great to know that even if power went out of your venue, everything else failed, you've got an all-in-one solution that could help you limp by and finish the event strong. So let's dive into talking about this speaker. Now, I want to start with the looks because having owned the previous ELS GO 8 BT, it looked okay, but the other offering that American Audio had that was battery powered was a 15-inch speaker, and in my mind, it looked ugly. It did not look up with the trends. It was kind of bulky and plasticky looking, and it just really didn't look like something that I would want to be seen using at a high-end event. This has changed with the APX12 GO BT. You can tell that it has a similar profile to most of the other speakers on the market. Very sleek lines, kind of tapered grill right here. Looking at the side, you've got the vertical handle. You've got a display here at the back, which will go into all your inputs, and then another vertical handle right here. So I really like this cabinet design. It is a plastic cabinet, which is good for saving weight, which matters in this speaker because it has a battery, which adds a lot to the weight. And speaking of weight, this comes in at around 30 pounds. And to me, in my mind, it is a heavy speaker. 30 pounds is obviously not a lot, but when you've lifted other speakers that don't have a battery inside of them, this one feels pretty hefty. If you're a smaller person or someone that already struggles to kind of get speakers up on stands, that's something to consider. It's not unmanageable, but it definitely is heftier than other options. Now, talking about the build quality, one of the most unique things about this speaker is its portability. It has wheels built into the back here, and we can zoom in on those in just a minute, and it also has a handle up on top, and I'll do some B-roll footage showing you how these work, but that makes moving this heavier speaker super easy. And if you already have a cart loaded up with your other gear and you want to pull this behind it, you can just extend the handle and tip it back and roll it on these wheels. I also like that the wheels are really discreet, so if you're looking at the speaker from the front, it doesn't look like a consumer-ish portable speaker. This looks like a standard DJ PA speaker, but the wheels are discreetly hidden on the back so that you can use them to transport it. And the wheels are good quality. They're like a really hard, thick plastic, and the casters that they're on, well, not casters, they don't rotate, but the brackets that they're on seem very sturdy. When I wheeled this around the house, through the garage, even out on the back patio stones, it did not feel like it was flimsy at all. I'm going to turn this speaker around to the back side, zoom in the camera, and give you an overview of all the features of this speaker and the inputs and outputs on the back. So we'll start here at the bottom of the speakers. The wheels are right below the screen right here. You've got some air vents at the bottom, and then above that you have your AC input to charge the speaker, as well as your power switch. This is a battery powered speaker, so you don't need to plug this in. You just flip that guy and your speaker is now on and ready to rock. Here are your inputs and outputs. Off to the left side you have a battery indicator with 4 LEDs to tell you how much charge is remaining inside the speaker. This is rated at about 8 hours of use on a full charge. That's obviously going to be dependent on what volume you're at. If you're blasting this thing at full volume, it'll be a little less, and if you're doing more moderate background levels, you may get a little bit more, but 8 hours is the stated spec for the battery life. At the top of your inputs and outputs, you have a microphone in, both XLR and 1/4 inch, and that has its own microphone level. The knob above that is for the Bluetooth and MP3 player, which we'll go over in a second, but you do have a separate volume for that input. Below that, you have an auxiliary input or a line level input. It has a headphone jack here, the 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve input, an RCA input, as well as an XLR line input, and this whole section right here has its own volume below. You have a main volume. This is the overall volume for the speaker. Now, none of these knobs have a detent in the middle. That's something I always like to see, and maybe they could implement that in the future. It's not a deal breaker at all, but just be aware that there's no detent on these volume knobs right here. They're just kind of an infinite continuous rotation there. Below the volume, the main master volume, you have a treble and a bass. You'll notice my bass, maybe you can see it on the camera, is at about the 2 o'clock position. That really helps reinforce this speaker. We'll talk about the specs and the low frequency extension, but I keep my bass knob bumped up a little bit there. And below the bass adjustment, you have a power and a clip light to tell you that the speaker is on and to tell you if you are overdriving the amplifier. The last section up here is our multimedia player, and this is something that we saw on the ELS GO 8 BT. It was one of the big draws for me to that speaker. I just love how many different options you have for media playback. Again, this is huge for backup options or people that want to have, you know, a USB stick full of files playing for a cocktail hour that's in a remote location while you handle introductions or something like that. I really like that this is built in and it works amazingly. So you have an SD card slot over here, a USB slot right here for a USB stick. You can also pair this via Bluetooth. You just have to hit the mode button. BT will come up, it'll start flashing. It's probably just paired to my phone right now. And then if you click mode one more time, you have access to, oddly enough, an FM tuner. Now this is something I was like, what the heck, why is there an FM tuner? No one's gonna use that. But at the price this is, people could be buying this to use in their garage, to work on their car, or just have it around the house for parties. And you know, having an FM tuner is just one easy thing to put in a speaker and just gives you another flexibility of something to listen to, maybe not when you're DJing, but just at home. Clicking mode one more time will take you back to the Bluetooth. And then along this row of buttons here, you have your standard play, pause, stop, repeat, and then cycle tracks back and forward. Speaking of this being the ultimate backup option, let me show you what comes in the box with the APX12 GO BT. Obviously a power cable so you can charge this guy up. You can also run it on AC power. You know, if you didn't charge it and you need it in a jam, you just need an extra satellite speaker or something, you do have the cable. They also include this little IR remote, and this gives you control over the Bluetooth functionality of the media player on the back from a distance of around 25 to 30 feet. You know, that's what I tested it to. I'll show you that test in a little bit, but this gives you control over things like stop, change the mode, mute, push the track forward or back, adjust the volume, and so forth. So it's kind of basic. It's just like a TV remote, but smaller. You know, you're not going to be doing this from clear across the ballroom. But if you're at your DJ booth, the speaker's 10 to 15 feet away, you can reach over and adjust something with this little remote. I like that they included that. And then last but not least, a microphone. So they include a UHF microphone with this speaker. Now, when you see the price on this, you're going to obviously know that this is not the most high-end microphone ever, but with this as a backup option, right? This is such a cool thing to be included. You can just throw this in your DJ gearbox and have a backup microphone, wireless, UHF on hand if you need it. Is this going to be anyone's main microphone? Would I recommend it as that? Absolutely not. You'll hear the quality in a bit and you'll hear about the range when I do that test. It's not stellar. The build quality is all plastic. It feels kind of cheap, but again, they're throwing this in. Like this speaker was a steal without this. It was a great price without this, and now they throw this in. That's just one more thing to sweeten the deal. So UHF microphone, it has a couple bands of frequencies. I just kept it on one, which matches the speaker, and what a neat thing to throw in. Let's talk about a few specs of the speaker. It is a 12-inch low frequency driver with a 1.5-inch voice coil and a 1-inch tweeter up top. Now, American Audio never exaggerates their power ratings, which is something I really appreciate. And this guy is rated at 200 watts peak or 65 watts RMS. You're not going to be rocking a school dance with these. You're probably not going to be rocking any dance with these, but it's plenty for vocal reinforcement or background music or ceremony prelude music, things of that nature, a party in a garage or at your house, it'll be fine for that. And frequency response is listed as 40 hertz on the low end up to 18 hertz on the top end. And we're going to use that as a transition into sound quality. Now, I played a ton of different tracks, ton of different styles of music through this guy. Things that I think it excels at would be acoustic music. Guitar sounded really great through this. Vocals sounded really great through this. Like jazz trio type music sounded good through this. Dance music, not as much. Is it passable? Yes. The 40 hertz cutoff on the low end I think is generous. This is probably cutting off a little bit higher. You're not going to be bumping any dance floors with this guy. You have to crank it up, significantly to get any sort of like mid-bass punch. Add this with a subwoofer, a pair of these, and you maybe could do a small party. But again, that's not I don't think the intended use of this, especially again at the price, right? But the sound is clear, the sound is great. I boost that bass knob just a little bit, not to get like dance floor punch, but just to kind of fill out the sound a little bit. And for the uses that I mentioned before, it's going to be perfectly fine. I'm going to cut to some footage I shot on my back patio of some distance tests. Now, I have to preface this footage with a few disclaimers. I live in Orlando. It has been raining here every single day for the past week or so. I caught one tiny break in the rain to go shoot this before it started downpouring again. So high humidity made my lens a little bit blurry. I tried to wipe it off, but bear with the sub-quality footage that's not in a studio light and a nice controlled environment. Also bear in mind that I had to route the audio out of the line out of this into the Zoom recorder. Again, this wasn't an audio test. Doing that over video is not the best comparison, but I did want you guys to hear the distance wise. And then the final thing is that I may have been speaking a little too loud and set my Tascam recorder a little too hot. I distorted a couple times, but I can say that the distances that I recorded as far as the IR remote, the Bluetooth, and the microphone are accurate. Now, this speaker, I was pushing it to the limits as far as distance, and so I wouldn't recommend that you operate at these distances or count on these distances regularly. Normally, you would use this within 50 feet or so, you would use this within 10 feet or so, but I wanted to see how far I could go and push the speaker to its limits, so let's take a look at that. All right, so now we're out here on the back patio of my house. We've got a few hundred feet that we can do a couple of distance tests. So as you can see on the back of the speaker, I have no cables hooked in at all. That includes power. Everything is going to be completely wireless, including the microphone and the music. So what we're going to do is, because I don't want to blast out my neighbors and it's kind of windy right now, I'm going to run a direct line out from the speaker right here into the Tascam recorder so that you can hear the microphone and the audio. The first thing we're going to test is the infrared remote. Then we're going to test the Bluetooth connection distance itself, and then we're going to test the wireless UHF microphone that comes with the APX12 GO BT. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this camera right here on this table, and let's do a few distance tests. And here is the test 25 feet to see if our infrared remote is still working. Fantastic. So I'm easily at 25-30 feet, and we're still getting the ability to control the speaker with this little infrared remote. Now, you do need line of sight. This isn't radio frequency, but I'm pretty impressed with how well that's working. All right, so now what I'm going to do is test the Bluetooth distance capabilities of the speaker. I'm going to turn on some music, and I'm going to start walking away, and when the music starts to cut out, we'll see about how many feet we are away from the speaker. So let's go. All right, so I would say that was about 150 feet. And the last test for the APX12 GO BT will be the UHF microphone that's included with the speaker. I'm going to walk clear across the pond and see how far this microphone will transmit.
1, 2. All right, and so same distance on the microphone as we had on the Bluetooth.
All right, so there was the world's most unscientific and uncontrolled audio distance test ever. So thank you for bearing with me for that. But reiterating that I wouldn't try and push the distances on this. I would solely use this guy as a backup option or very, very close quarters. And the Bluetooth honestly was the best feature. The Bluetooth went very far. I can't think of a situation where you would trust your Bluetooth, 150 feet from your speaker. I would stay within 25, 30 feet. I mean, I wouldn't even use Bluetooth in a professional environment, but that's up to you. Anyway, it works well. And if you don't want to try wireless options, you've got your normal inputs on the back, which offer you stability and peace of mind as far as the connection. So wrapping things up, at the price point, the APX12 GO BT is a no-brainer. No one is forcing me to say this. I love this product. I think it looks good. It sounds great for the price. It has so much functionality, especially as a backup speaker or as a cocktail hour or ceremony speaker option, that I think if you don't have a battery-powered speaker in your arsenal, this could be your entry point into it. There's more expensive options, but this serves the average DJ perfectly. If you want to go grab one for yourself, you know where to go, idjnow.com. They're going to have them in stock. You can order one and they'll get you taken care of. Also, if you're not already subscribed and following IDJ Now on all the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, make sure you do so because there'll be more awesome videos from me and from other creators in the future. But thank you so much for watching and we will see you next time.